Hi folks, it's George from Envii, and if your compost heap is looking more like a pile of sticks or just a pile of foliage at this time of year rather than actual compost, then don't worry, you're not the only one. At this time of year, loads of gardeners realise that their compost heap just isn't breaking down. So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the reasons that compost can stall and what you can do to fix it before winter. So the first reason compost production can stall is just because it's too dry. It's honestly one of the most common reasons that compost stops breaking down. Even in the UK, compost heaps dry out really easily, especially when the weather turns cold and windy. So if it's too dry, the microbes that are in there that do all the work basically just go to sleep. Your compost should feel like a wrung out sponge, so it shouldn't feel dusty or crumbly in any way. So if yours is a bit dry, just give it a gentle drink with a watering can, then mix in some green materials if you can, so grass clippings or veg scraps. So the second reason that compost can stop breaking down is just simply that the mix and the ratio is off. So either you've got too many browns like leaves, twigs and cardboard, or you've got too many greens like grass or kitchen scraps and soft plant cuttings. So if it's too dry, it just becomes slow and woody, like we say, just like a pile of sticks. And if it's too green, it can turn smelly and wet. So both of those problems will stall the heap. So you want to aim for roughly half and half, especially before winter. And now's the perfect time to bag up any fallen leaves because they're an excellent source of brown material at this time of year. We're going to head over to the Envii Garden compost heaps now to talk about another big reason that compost slows down. A bit colder here. So we've come over to our compost heaps at the Envii Garden now, just to talk about a couple of other reasons why compost doesn't break down at this time of year. And really, this is one of the main reasons why compost doesn't break down at any time of year, and it's just a lack of airflow. So when the pile gets compacted, the microbes just don't get enough oxygen. And once it gets cold out, with the combination of the microbes not getting enough oxygen and the cold weather, the heap basically just shuts down. So the whole process just stops. So just to get things moving a little bit, you don't have to flip it completely, but even just a light turn helps. Just get some oxygen in there and just keep the process going through the cold season. So mix in some coarse browns as well, like twigs and cardboard, just to open it up a little bit. And make sure air can get in from the bottom and the sides. If your heap feels wet, heavy or compact, this is usually the issue. And the final thing really is, and this is basically the common thread through this whole video you'll have noticed, is it really simply could be the conditions and the cold weather. If the heap wasn't very active to begin with, the cold weather will then multiply that issue. And you might think there's not a lot you can do about this, but you can still help it along. So the green materials will increase the heat in there. So add more of those. Again, just trying to keep that balance right where possible. Keep the moisture at that kind of wrung out sponge level and insulate your pile like we've done here. We've done it with small carpet, but you can use cardboard. Just anything that can keep the compost warm and keep it going through the cold weather, and those biological processes will still keep going. And really this whole issue is what inspired Envii to create Compost Accelerator. The bacteria in here will naturally speed up the process, kickstart that microbial activity that's started to slow down because of the drop in temperature. And it's really simple to use. You just drop a tablet in a watering can, leave it for a bit, give it a stir and apply it to the heap. Do this throughout the colder seasons, you've got much more chance of having that high quality compost that your plants need when the growing season starts again. So that's it from us today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.